welcome back to my channel, Reading and Retail. If you're new here, my name is Crystal. Welcome. So I've never done a first 50 pages before, so I'm gonna try that. Don't know how well it's gonna go, but we're gonna power through it and see what happens. Cause this I like. This is interesting. Because I did a video last night about why I changed my mind about reading the synopsis. So what I did last night is I went and I read the synopsis to you. A little bit further than 50 pages, but let me tell you, reading this particular synopsis did not ruin it. Okay, so what do we have here? We have a little girl, Josie. She is in 6th grade, and she has a little sister named Anna, and she's 7. Her mother loses her job, and they have to move in with the grandmother. Not only because she lost her job, but as well as her mother is older. They think she's getting dementia. They're afraid to leave her by themselves, so she lives in a really big home. So they're like, we're going to go there and take care of her. The father has already passed away, but in her mind, her husband is still with her. So they're really worried about her. So they're like, well, we don't have any money. We're going to need to live somewhere, moving in with grandma. The grandmother lives in, like I said, a large house. It's 3 stories. And it's located in front of the woods. Now, in the synopsis that I read last night, she had 3 rules. Never leave your windows open after dark. No dolls in the house. And never ever go to the house in the woods. Well, she tells her grandchildren, you know, these are my 3 rules for living here. They didn't understand it, but, you know, they don't think that grandma's all the way here. So they're like, okay, grandmother, okay. Well, that night, the 2 girls were hearing voices from in the woods. And they told their mother it sounded like a woman was calling their name. And they were scared and they were having nightmares. And Josie had a nightmare that she was being chased by a creature. So she ran through the woods to run away from the creature, and she ran towards a house, but in her dreams, she thought it was her grandmother's house. So she ran to the house, and she got there to realize this is not grandmother's house. It was scary. It was large. It had creepy things on the outside. But since the creature was coming and she was running away in her dreams, she banged on the door to whoever was there to say, you know, let me in, they're going to get me. Well, how she described in her dream when she opened up the door was a giant life-size doll that grabbed her by the wrist and snatched her into the house. So when she woke up, she said she almost wanted to scream, but she didn't. She knew it was a nightmare, whatever. The next day, they were starting their new school. Well, while she was there, you know, of course, she's the new girl. She doesn't know anybody. This is where Vanessa comes in, if you watched yesterday's video. Vanessa found her out of the blue and befriended her. And Josie thought it was really weird because this girl just pops up. She's wanting to be her friend. She's hanging around her, you know. But, you know, you're the new girl. You go with the flow, whatever. Well, a couple days into the week, Josie gets a note in her locker that says, stay away from Vanessa. Well, she thought it was just people making pranks on her, so she throws the note away and doesn't pay any attention to it. Well, through the middle of the week, Vanessa asked Josie if she would like to come over to her house. And if you want to, you can go ahead and bring your sister Anna. Because she was invited to Josie's house, but she's claiming that since her aunt has a bad knee and just had knee surgery, that she can't leave her alone. So she was like, just come over to my house. We'll spend the weekend together. We have internet, you know, we'll hang out and we'll be friends. Friday rolls around and someone leaves her another note in her locker. And this time the note says, stay away from Vanessa, she's dangerous. Well, she's all excited about her big weekend over there. She gets to stay at her house, and, you know, it's her new friend, and, you know, they have internet service. We're at her grandmother's house. She doesn't have internet service. So she's excited about it, and she still wants to go. So she throws the note away, and she doesn't think anything about it. So at the end of the school day on Friday, Vanessa's waiting after school for her and her sister. Now, they have to walk home. She tells Josie that, well, we're going to have to walk home because I live with my aunt. My aunt had knee surgery, so she can't drive right now. So we have to walk. I hope you don't mind. So they're like, no, that's fine. They're like, it's kind of far away. So they're like, oh, we'll be fine. Well, they walk and walk and walk, and she feels like it's forever. And then the next thing she the next thing she notices, they're approaching the woods. Well, her and her sister stop because that's one of grandmother's rules. Don't go into the woods. Well, she doesn't want to look bad in front of her friend, so they just, you know, she's like, do we have to go through the woods? And she was like, oh, it's a shortcut. Don't worry about it. You're safe with me. I do this every day and I walk home every day. You're fine. So they go ahead and they walk through the woods and they get all the way to Vanessa's house. Oh my God, the horror when they get there. They just stop and they're frozen, Josie and her sister Anna, because what they're now looking at, which is Vanessa's house, is the house that was in her nightmares. So they're looking at each other like, oh, I don't want to go in there. I don't want to go in there, because her and her sister had the exact same nightmare about the exact same house. So Vanessa's like, what's wrong? What's wrong? They didn't want to hurt her feelings. You know, they wanted to keep their friend. They're all excited. So they're like, oh, nothing. It's just, you know, very unique looking. And she's like, oh, every time I bring somebody home, nobody wants to come in. They're scared. So it ended up hurting Vanessa's feelings. So then they felt bad and they're like, no, we'll come in. Well, in their minds, they're like, oh my God, what am I going to get to when I get in there? Well, they go in and they're standing there and they're frozen when they walk in there. Because when they walk in there, this is where the dolls come in. When they walk in there, they describe this house as dolls everywhere. I'm actually going to read to you one of the favorite parts of it, how they described it. I'm not going to give anything away. I'm only a little over, not even 100 pages in. But next, I noticed the dolls. They were everywhere. Dolls the size of my hands. Dolls as big as me. Every shape, every color, every size. Wearing every type of clothing you could have imagined. There was a doll in dresses and dolls in overalls. Dolls with long hair, dolls with short hair, and dolls that were bald. Hundreds and hundreds of dolls. And I couldn't see their faces though, because every doll was facing the wall. You guys, I don't like dolls. I barely like him anymore because his eyes creep me out, but I love him. He'll be fine. I don't like dolls. I don't like Chucky dolls. I don't like dolls. If I walked into a house and there was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, so she's like, yeah, I guess I should have told you that my aunt collects dolls. She's been collecting them since she was a very little girl. You think? Dolls everywhere. So I'm going to stop there because that's what I'm up to. But to go back to the video that I changed my mind as far as the synopsis. Right now, I'm just going to go ahead and say the synopsis did not ruin this book for me. So yeah, we're gonna leave it at there. Because I don't do spoilers anyway. We can call it 50 pages in because I'm just a little over 50. Rapid review, however you want to name it. But yes, this is a keeper and this is a winner. Um, for those who didn't watch the last video, this is by K.R. Alexander, The Collector. Now I know why it's called The Collector, and now I know why there's a doll on the front of this. So yeah, guys, tell me what you think about the book. Do you like it so far? Give me a thumbs up if you do. If you're brand new to my channel, once again, my name is Crystal. Go ahead and consider hitting that red bell. Not bell. Red button, yeah. And ring the bell. There you go. Ring the bell. All right, guys. I appreciate ya. I love all of y'all. And I'll see you in the next video.